What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Reggie TV, and today we gonna talk about one of my favorite Batman games, Batman Arkham Origins. Now, throughout the years, I've noticed that this game, out of all the other Arkham games, received a lot of either backlash or criticism. A lot of people consider Arkham Origins the worst out of the Arkham series. And I kind of noticed this when Rocksteady released the Arkham trilogy and they left out Arkham Origins, which I think sucks because I would have loved to be able to play Arkham Origins on Xbox One and PS4. Granted, you can still play it on the PS4 with PSN, but if you don't have a pretty good connection, you're not really going to be able to enjoy it at its fullest. Batman Arkham Origins is an action-adventure released on October 25th, 2013, and despite being released 6 days before Halloween, this is a Christmas game. The story follows around a younger Bruce Wayne 2 years into his role as Batman, and on Christmas Eve he is forced to fight off 8 different assassins who has been hired by Black Mask to kill him. This is the third installment of the Arkham series, but it's set before the events of Asylum City. Arkham Origins is also the only Arkham game not to be made by Rocksteady Studios, but instead by Warner Brothers. And there's a story behind that. After the release of Arkham City, Rocksteady Studios began making a new Arkham game. That Arkham game would later be called Arkham Knight. Rocksteady wanted another Arkham game to be released between Arkham City and Arkham Knight, so while in the process of making Arkham Knight, they had Warner Brothers Studios create Arkham Origins. Think of Arkham Origins as a filler episode for one of your favorite animes. Now, with the release of Arkham Origins came a lot of criticism from the fan base. I think out of all the criticisms I heard, the main points were it wasn't made by Rocksteady, the map is a copy and paste of Arkham City, the shot gloves are OP, and great, another Arkham game with Joker in it. All valid criticisms, some of them less than others. Criticisms aside, however, I believe that Arkham Origins was a good game. Not just a good game, but a good Arkham game at that. Let's start with the story, right? One thing I really enjoyed about Arkham Origins was its story mode. The game opens up with Batman attempting to stop a jailbreak led by Black Mask at Blackgate Prison on Christmas Eve. After defeating numerous inmates, the jailbreak ends with Black Mask escaping via helicopter and Batman being left to face off against Killer Croc on the rooftops of the prison. After beating Killer Croc, Batman finds out that Black Mask put a $50 million bounty on his head, a bounty that is being sought out by 8 different assassins. These assassins include Killer Croc, Deathstroke, Firefly, Copperhead, Deadshot, Electrocutioner, Lady Shiva, and Bane. In an attempt to find a lead on Black Mask, Batman heads over to Penguin's stronghold to squeeze information out of him. While doing this, he encounters numerous thugs and faces off in my opinion, the best boss battle out of that entire game, the Electrocutioner.
Who wants to show me where the Penguin is?
After one-shotting the Electrocutioner, Batman ends up manhandling Penguin and ends in an actual boss battle with Deathstroke. This one is actually considered a good one. I don't care what nobody says, out of every single Arkham game, I think this one is the best boss battle. I'll go into that a little later though. After defeating Deathstroke and furthering his investigation on Black Mask, Batman finds out that Black Mask has been kidnapped by a new criminal in Gotham named the Joker. He follows them to a bank where Joker then reveals himself as Black Mask in disguise, revealing that he's in behind the whole operation the entire time. Remember, Origins takes place before Asylum City and Night and all that, so this is his first encounter with the Joker and most of these supervillains you see him fighting. Now, one bank explosion and 3 boss battles later between Copperhead, Bane, and Firefly, Batman finds himself stopping the Joker from seizing control of Blackgate Prison. Also, side note, how do you have a jailbreak and a riot at the same prison on the same night? Somebody gotta get fired. Anyways, the Batman ends up defeating Bane for a second time, and he then confronts Joker in the prison chapel. A few hits to the chest and one body slam later, the game ends with Batman defeating the Joker and helping the GCPD bring order to the state penitentiary. Now that basically wraps up the story of Arkham Origins. 10 years later, Asylum follows suit. Now, as I said in the beginning of the video, a critique people had of this game was the Joker. A lot of people felt cheated that the Joker was actually the main villain instead of Black Mass. People felt like they had enough of the Joker from Asylum and City, and that it felt good to have a fresh start when it came to Batman's villains in the Arkham games. In other words, the Joker plot twist felt like a slap in the face for a lot of the players. Now here's where my opinion comes in. Me personally, I like it. I like the fact that there was a bit of a plot twist. Granted, I felt like it would have been cool to have Black Mass as a villain, but I didn't mind the Joker twist. Because for me, how I view the Arkham games, I see them as a showcasing of Batman and Joker's relationship. Let me put it to you like this. In Arkham Asylum, Joker was the main villain. He was the final boss. He was the one pulling all the strings. He was the main bad guy throughout that entire game. Arkham City. Some people argue that Hugo Strange and Ra's al Ghul were the final bosses and the real villains, but Joker played a huge part in the storyline in Arkham City when he poisoned you with his blood and he sent you on a wild goose chase to get his cure to cure both you and him. He played a very big part in Arkham City's events. Joker's role in the Arkham Knight was kind of minor compared to Asylum and City, but his presence was still there. He poisoned 6 people, including Batman, with his blood, which caused Batman to hallucinate and the other 6 to think that they're him. And he also tortured Jason Todd, which led to him becoming the Arkham Knight. It doesn't matter if it's Asylum, City, or Knight, Joker's presence is always there in the Arkham games. Now I think that's the main reason why I didn't have a problem with him being in Arkham Origins, is because Origins isn't necessarily just an origin story of Batman. It can also technically be an origin story for Joker. In a way, the game is showing you like, hey, you know how Joker's always around in the Arkham games fucking shit up, causing mayhem? Well, this is how it started. And me, I don't really mind that. It would have been cool having Black Mass as the main villain, but having it be the Joker kind of fits the formula of the Arkham series. Joker aside, another thing I really love about Arkham Origins was the boss battles. I feel like out of the Arkham series, Arkham Origins is a really good contender for the best boss battles had. Between Deathstroke, Firefly, and Bane, Asylum and City didn't really have back-to-back boss battles that was as good as Origins. Now don't get me wrong, their boss battles were still good. Like City had Solomon Grundy, Clayface, and Mr. Freeze. Those boss battles were great. I just feel like they can't compare. Those 3 themselves cannot compare to the boss battle between Batman and Deathstroke in Arkham Origins. The action sequence, the quick timing, the aggression, I loved every second of that boss battle. And 9 years later, after its release, it still holds up. The concept of having a straight hand-to-hand fight, no henchmen, no tanks, no nothing, amazes me. I love that about that boss fight. I'm so used to fighting henchmen in between fighting a boss in the other Arkham games that just having a straight one-on-one fight with Deathstroke was kind of refreshing to me. Now, boss fights like Bane or Lady Shiva or Firefly, those were still good boss fights to me, but they also still kind of followed certain tropes of the other Arkham games. Like Bane and Shiva had henchmen to fight with them. Firefly, you need to use batarangs and I think the ice grenade in order to stop them. Typical Arkham shit, but it was still fun. One thing I can say I disliked about Origins was also kind of the boss fights. Some of them, instead of being used as main story boss fights, they were used as side quests. Like Deadshot and Lady Shiva, those were side quest boss fights, which is kind of weird because you can go the entire game without encountering either Deadshot or Lady Shiva, but you were promised that all 8 assassins would be out to kill you, so you expect them to be part of the main story. It still, however, gives you a little something to do after you complete the game. Arkham Origins also had a multiplayer attached to it. I never played it. I don't know anyone else who played it, but I think they treated it like a first-person or third-person shooter. I'm not too certain. I never touched it, but hey man, that shit was there too. To me, Batman Arkham Origins is an all-around good game. I love it. It's my favorite in the series. Is it better than Arkham City? No. Arkham City is still top tier. It's still up there. But I will say I most definitely enjoyed playing Origins more than I did Knight. If you had not played Arkham Origins yet, I highly suggest you try it. Another criticism I want to address before I dip was the shot gloves. A lot of people didn't like it. They felt like it made the game too easy. It felt like they made Batman OP. My response to that is, fuck, just don't use it. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, if you don't want to use it, you don't have to. The game doesn't really force you to do it. There are times where you use it to activate like a door or a panel, but other than that, it doesn't really affect how you enjoy the Arkham experience. But hey man, other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. You know, I've been trying something new. Like normally I do commentary shit, but after 2042, I really wanted to try out this whole video game commentary thing where I talk about video games that y'all either hated or thought was mid or thought was overrated, and I was thinking I could touch up on that. You know, I have opinions on them. I think I might do either Call of Duty Ghosts or Duke Nukem Forever after this. I don't know, it's one of those two. But hey, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching Reggie TV, and I'm out.
So you wait.
Well, this should be interesting. Whee!